All right,
Cool.
so I am here talking with Michael, our Freedom All Billboard artist. And I know that we will be sharing part of your story alongside this interview, but I was just wondering if maybe you could introduce yourself, tell us your name and any other information you'd like to share.
Yeah, I can. My name is Michael Armendariz. First of all, I just want to let you know how happy I am to be with you and how glad I am for your guys' patience with me. I just want to let you know, like, all right, I've been working on a life sentence now for 19 years of my life, and that's like 7,000 days away from my family's lives. I'm not trying to, like, I want sympathy or pity or anything like that. I'm just hoping for understanding. I'm here for murder, but my charges are a lot more complicated than that. The victim of my crime was a drunk off-duty sheriff's deputy. He also had other law enforcement with him at the time in the same condition as he was. The group was attacking my homie. They were doing it for no reason. They were trying to kill him, and we were in the commission of no crime. They had no reason to do that. We didn't present a threat to anybody. They were just trying to show us who's boss, I guess. We were trying to leave them. They attacked us. They held my friend down. They strangled him, and that caused me to break up the fight. I used a gun because that was the only way I could do it at the time. As we were retreating, they pursued, and one of them tried to tackle me, and that's when I shot him. I have no idea why they attacked us. Several witnesses who were with them said that they did it because we were gangsters. After this happened, those officers were immediately declared heroes and good Samaritans. The investigation of my case and my ensuing trial was put together so as to preserve that story. Nobody cared about the truth, and so my exculpatory evidence was either ignored, destroyed, or doctored. I didn't know how to represent myself at the time, and my defense attorney wasn't doing me any favors. I can prove everything about my story, but no judge will grant me an evidentiary hearing. All this happened when I was 24 years old. At that time, I was a father, rapper, sometimes graffiti artist. I mean, not to say like I was a perfect person, but at that time I was a full time college student. You know, I was honestly trying to turn my life around, doing the best I could. I wasn't a murderer, but like I said, I wasn't perfect. Now I'm going to school. I'm trying to get a degree and maybe become a drug counselor one day. That's my goal. I want to make things right with my community, try to help people. As of today, I'm just doing my best to make sure that my story doesn't get buried or forgotten. Because the biggest barrier to my freedom is awareness.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I was just wondering if maybe you could expand a little bit about your design and the message behind it.
Well, first of all, I love your taste. My design is an old school burner, and burners like graffiti talk for like a piece. It says poem, and poem is an acronym for prevent oppression and misery. To me, oppression is when those in power try to steal a person's narrative and rewrite history in order to justify their bad acts. I would be wrong if I didn't big up Riot from WSSO. The homie pioneered some of the style that I perfected. I reversed the smile now, cry later pinta motif so I could make it a cry now, smile later, and like symbolize hope, and the bolt cutter symbolize freedom.
I was wondering maybe if you could talk a little bit about the challenges of kind of doing this project while incarcerated and also kind of the overarching challenges of being an artist, musician, and a creative person while being incarcerated.
I wouldn't know where to start with that. I drew this piece in the middle of my finals. Like I said, I'm going to college right now, And at the same time, I was sick from COVID. And at the same time, I was doing my appeals to the United States Supreme Court. On top of that, I'm housed in a level 4, and that prison is like, it's run like a level 5. It's hard to get materials. It's like the thing is it was mostly Chicano jale, which is like I had to use tricks to make it look like that I had stuff that I didn't have access to. And yeah, I'm just glad it came together in time.
It looks absolutely amazing. And I guess one of the things that we were wondering for is, who are you making this work for? What is the impact, that you would like to have with it?
Oh wow! All right. Well, for what I'm making it for is I'm making it. This is that right there was see. It's on a billboard, and that was like to be up on a billboard was a big deal when I was like 13 years old. Except they didn't put us on a billboard. We went up there, got up there ourselves, and that's for all. It's dedicated to the homies that have climbed razor wire and hung over overpasses and scale buildings to share their art with the world. Like people that don't even really remember them anymore. Like Link and Agree and all the underground legends that I learned from, and I just wanted to do my part to keep their art form alive.
Yeah, I love that. And I know you had mentioned that you were kind of working on this piece a little bit while you were, recovering from COVID. And I was wondering if maybe you could talk a little bit about what it has been like to be incarcerated during the pandemic.
It's crazy. It's well, COVID's terrible. I got real sick at the time I was doing this. I got real sick. I didn't have. It wasn't. I basically made it. I made it on my own. We didn't have a whole lot of help, and I tried to. I just like forced myself to. Like it was either sink or swim. So I just did my best to stay healthy, and keep working out through it. And I was able to do that. After the fact, I tried to ask them if I could donate blood or bone marrow, but they never got back to me.
What would you like people to know about, what it's like to be behind bars?
I would say all right, most of the people, this is a lot of common misconceptions. Most of the people that I've done time with, they can be smart, noble, and talented people. There's a lot of really good people behind these walls. The people I know, they're not throwaways, and they're not stepping stones to justify official misconduct or further somebody's career. They don't need more security or more lockdown. They need more programs, and they need more family reunification. Like, prisoners are like divided and isolated in the guise of security, but all of that mentality undercuts rehabilitation, and it makes it hard for people that already have so much against them. These systems are in place that make it easy to demonize people, but that's not brave, and that's not good for our communities. There are people here that have persevered for years, and they have a lot to offer the people out there in the streets. And this stuff can't be read in a book or like Googled or Shazammed or however people do get their information nowadays. This stuff is like, they need these people, these communities need their people back. And that's what I would like people to know, that if I were to say anything, if I were to be able to explain how things are in here, it's just we have too many people that are forgotten and treated like throwaways.
Yes, thank you for sharing that. And our last question it's a two-part question. So The
Okay.
first part is, how do you see the role of artists in the movement for freedom? And the second part is that we know you're a musician, so we were wondering if you could maybe talk a little bit about your recent music projects.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. This one is especially hard because I'm like off the top of the head. I would say artists have a visceral appreciation for freedom specifically, and the world benefits from their creativity. I think the creativity is contagious, and beautiful art makes all this whole world more beautiful. Um, as far as my stuff goes, I've been uh, I've been blessed to work with a lot of people. I'm making some music right now with a homie named Rashid from Dope House Records. Um, a homie Mo Money, a couple different homies. King Duke, Knock on the Block. There's a couple homies that are helping me they're doing their best. Genevieve Zamora from Southern Royalty Studios. She's incredible, and the homeboy. I gotta give a lot of love and a lot of respect to the homie Chaos. All these people are like it's because it's really hard. It's hard for me to do this stuff on my own. And there's a lot of people that hear my story, they hear about my struggle, and they have big hearts, and they want to help me. They're trying to help me get my story, my music out there. Everything I'm doing, I've been doing for the last few years, can be found on freespook.com. Also, YouTube, Spotify, basically anywhere you can get music, my music's available. Ese Spook local.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that kind of just wraps up all the questions that we have. But is there anything else that you'd like to add?
I just want to let people know that the hardest thing about doing time is not like I mean you could give somebody 20 years, 30 years. For I have a homie in here that's got 90 something. He's doing more years than he could have life left, and all that stuff is like it's weird because like people think that if you give somebody more time that's more punishment, but really it's not more punishment. It's more like it just gets them like further entrenched into this weird world where they mean nothing and they are nothing to out there. And the hardest part about like people think that prison, people have these weird thoughts about how prison should be and they want to make it tough and they want to make it this and that. But the truth of the matter is being away from your family and not being able to contribute to the lives of your loved ones is the thing that makes prison so evil. And I understand there's an argument to be made that like if somebody like in my situation specifically, people will say that I took that man away from his family. But I had no choice. If I had done anything else, then there would have been my friend would have been gone, and I probably would have been gone, and he would have still been a hero. But anyways, aside from that, the point is prisons are no longer doing our society any good, and we're smarter than this, and we're better than this, and we got to be able to think of something new, because this is just like a self-perpetuating, self-escalating cycle of violence that we can do something about, but we just don't seem to be brave enough or smart enough or have the will to go about it any other way. And I wish that people would like see things that way instead of looking at things like how can we build higher walls and get bigger guns and teach these punks a lesson, because we're not really the ones that need to learn a lesson. And we ain't punks.
I love that. Your words are so powerful, and thank you so much for just taking the time to chat with us and to share with us about your work. We're definitely going to be including a link to your website, your story, and of course, I know you just recently wrote an essay and dropped a new song, so we'll definitely be sharing all of that information.
Thank you so much. It was great. I had a great time, and I just thank you for blessing me with this opportunity. Before I forget, I just want to just for the record, none of this would be possible without my mom. She's the one that contacted you guys in the first place, and she's been fighting a good fight for all her life, and she's still at it.
I love that. Thank you so much, Michael.